जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय जय राम ओम हरिओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om.
Pranama Swamiji, pranama.
Pranam, pranam, pranam. Hari Om, pranam, pranam.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Namaskaram Swamiji.
Namaskaram, namaskaram, namaskaram. So we are now going to Jagannath Puri, no? Hello.
Yes, yes. Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji.
So the moment we hear about Jagannath Puri, what particular aspect wells up in our mind?
One moment of that existence outweighs all the pleasures of the world.
One moment of that existence outweighs all the pleasures of the world.
What an expression. It is further amplified that he was able to go beyond the body level. That means the dualism was not there. Nobody is there to explain about that experience. Because when he says outweighs,
All the pleasures of the world.
all the pleasures of the world can be brought within the ambit of these knowable thoughts. So that particular experience he had, which is past, which is beyond all this, he cannot explain. So that is why he said, what a joy. One moment of that existence outweighs all the pleasures of the world. The height of ecstasy, no? Where the me and mine is totally absent. We cannot further explain because it is beyond the purview of our explanations. Anything else? Ah.
Ramdas had now become unconscious of his body
Ah.
and plunged into communion with the Almighty Ram.
That's why we said it is beyond the purview of thoughts. So we all look back to our own life. We also must have been blessed with such moments. When we go to a particular pilgrim center, places of worship, or when we see a Mahatma, all of us would have experienced this for a trice, a fraction of a second.
Yes, Swamiji.
At that time, we cannot express, but we had gone through that experience. And mostly the tears, it comes out in the form of tears. We ourselves may not know.
Tears of joy.
No, tears of joy.
He becomes unconscious as soon as he enters.
It appeared like a dream. Ramdas had now become unconscious of his body and plunged into communion with the Almighty Ram. In about 5 minutes, he was standing before the big idol of Jagannath. That means this experience, we take it that it was not before, it was not at the time of standing before the idol, Led himself through the thick crowd, took him by the hand, led him to the door, and using all his strength, he pressed himself through the thick crowd, and making a passage, conducted the bewildered Ramdas along with him. It all appeared like a dream. Ramdas had now become unconscious of his body and plunged into communion with the Almighty Ram. In about 5 minutes, he was standing before the big idol of Jagannath. So shall we take it that he was dwelling on Jagannath, Jagannath or Vishwanath means the Lord of the universe, So when he was taken forcibly through the crowd, he said he lost body consciousness and he was in communion with him. He was unconscious of the body and was in communion with him, and in 5 minutes' time he was before the deity, idol, the big idol of Jagannath. Ramdas laid his head at the feet of this idol. Make me ever feel thy constant fellowship. అది లేదంటారు కదా.
Can we say something? He was only sort of indwelling reality there, Papa.
So he gives us a message, the purpose of visiting a temple or a Mahatma should be such that we should get a glimpse of this experience. What is the message if you ask, Can we not take it as a message like that? Otherwise, we have also gone and we also had this thrill, but it doesn't leave any deep impact. When we remember it, we feel joy or joyous, that's all. But here Papa gives us the purpose of visiting such places. Because, why, Because lakhs and lakhs of people have been offering or have been superimposing with faith the nameless, formless reality into that name and form. It is not tangible. Lakhs and lakhs of people pouring their faith over centuries. And when he makes us or facilitates us to become aware of it, we get such moments in life. Otherwise, it is an idol, that's all. We have a sentimental satisfaction. We have gone there, had the darshan. But suppose we prepare the mind we will be able to derive the fullest benefit. It can be in any form. Initially, it might be for our temporary gains, worldly gains. Many people would have come there, prayed, they would have felt their prayers have been heard. It would have got spread. Then people again keep coming. Again the same thing continues. So there is because why we remember this, many, I think 30 years back, when we were in Wayanad, there was a nearby bhajan hall. The workers, tea estate workers have built a small shed. And there they have this Lord Ayyappa's, a small idol in plaster of Paris. So during the Ayyappa season, there will be a lot of activity there. Otherwise, every day evening, one worker will have after coming from the estate, he will have his bath and go there, light the lamp. And in their own way, they have a very short ritual and then come back. But during the Ayyappa season, those who take to the vow of going to Shabarimala, they all stay there nearby. Again, they will put up another thatched shed. They will not go home. From there, early morning, they go to the estate office and they work till evening. They get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It will be extremely chill and they have their bath in the cold water and then come to this bhajan hall and then they will all have this, Sharanambuli. That will go on for 1 hour minimum. Each one has to do it. Yeah, that is another one. It is not that everybody jointly does it. I do it, I stop and then you are there, you will do it. Then he are there, she is there, they will do it. So then everybody will join. Swami Sharanamayyappa. Then everybody will join. Swami Sharanamayyappa. But each one will repeat for 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And then, so this will take about 1 hour or more than that. and then they all go for the work. They prepare some breakfast there itself, because absolute vegetarianism, because when they go to their lines where they stay, it may not be possible for them to hold on to so many traditional restrictions, especially ladies out of doors. So here they will be, this is only gents. And then in the evening when they come back, they don't go home. They again have their bath and they will have bhajans. And then finally have again this Sharanambadi. We can say the glories of Lord Ayyappa. And then they retire to bed by 10 o'clock. Again 4:35 they will get up. So like that it was going on for 10 or 12 or 15 years. And one day the prompting came to somebody, why not we have a small temple? So the tradition there or anywhere in Kerala is that to consult a Jyotishi, an astrologer. A well-renowned astrologer will be brought and he will go through the planetary position and intuitively he will feel. So we were also present. Then he said, for the past so many years, devotees have been pouring their faith on this idol, and that is why it is with Chaitanyam. So when we keep on pouring, our faith, not one or two people, many people, and during the day when they leave for Sabarimala, there will be a big crowd. Very big crowd. All will come there. A very thrilling moment. And then finally it led. Now then he said, the Jyotishi, the astrologer said, the time has now come to move from the present level to a full-fledged temple level. So that is how the temple work was started. And he had given who should be consulted, who are all the deities should be installed. Everything he gives, guidance. So what we are trying to understand is, on that day, these are the words uttered by him. 10 or 15 years on a continuous basis, on a sustaining basis, they were not seeing the plaster of Paris idol, they were seeing the Lord doing prostrations, observing the vows strictly, looking intently at the figure, and that faith, the faith from their heart is poured on the idol, and therefore the idol gets the Chaitanyam. And then he decides the time has now come from moving to this present instrument called the, plaster of Paris material, to a well-developed temple where you can have the deity in the form of a idol, stone idol. So it is not that suddenly you decide and build a temple. Over anybody who is taking it up, they must have been, or a group of people, or a family, devotees from different places also. Having come to know of the Chaitanyam, they will visit. And when they visit, they spread the news. Many of them may pray for their material gains or worldly problems. Many of them would have been the recipient of their blessings. So this gets spread again, the faith becomes more and more stronger and firm. And with no capital, they all started. We still remember the one Ganapati puja was done. Everybody intently prayed, everything should go well. Nobody is having any money. They are all workers, daily. So on a particular day, they took half a day's leave. and both ladies and gents came, and they were leveling the ground, and then the carpenter came, and he put the he identified the areas where the foundation has to be laid. So they have to remove the earth from there. With Petromax, morning at 1:30 or 2 o'clock they started. By about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, the entire trench work was over. All Shamadan. So because still the Chaitanyam was working in them or making them to work. And then somebody came forward and he said there was a nearby there was a big rock. So I will start breaking the rock, so that we need granite stones for foundation and basement. So how do we pay? They are all workers. So everybody said we will try to pay them in the shortest possible time. Then they approached their estate office to give them their tractor, and then it started. We now recall how the Lord, apart from prompting them, steadily made them to move forward. And every time the sacrifice was there on their part. It was not simply, doing this. And then the work got started. Somebody came from Trivandrum or Nagarkoil who said, I will do, this is my wages, but suppose you are not in a position to pay me now, you can pay me later. So that is how the whole thing was started. But every time they were all confident that the Lord will see to it that everything goes well. So the idea becomes very, very clear to us that the faith, concentrated cumulative effect of the faith, develops the Chaitanyam on the ideal. So that is why probably when Papa went, not even reached there, he became one with. Because his, even otherwise, his thought on the Deha Buddhi was very, 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 very minimal. So even that Deha Buddhi was extinct for a short time. So which we can, no intellect can rationalize this. We can see that any famous temple, when we go there, people standing there for hours together, just to have a glimpse of him. Hardly they can be there for a minute. I don't think even a minute. If the rush is there, the organizers will request them to move. For that they must have been standing. In Shabarimala we can definitely say 10,000, 20,000, lakhs of people. They will be on the line. And when they actually reach the sanctum sanctorum before the idol, nobody is there to tell you go, but the crowd will be such that you cannot be there. Once you remember, like this, the crowd was too much. So we had collected the ghee in a vessel of all our friends who came with us, and it has to be given to the pujari there. But how to go there? We thought, we will sit somewhere, unable to do anything. A policeman came. He said, you get up with your... And somehow he made way, took us to the entrance of the idol, the Sri Govil. And then we gave it. And then we came back. Mysterious things will happen. Because we were finding it extremely difficult to go through that. Everybody will offer like this. You know that, it will be in the coconut. A coconut will be there are 3 eyes for a coconut. One eye will be removed, and through that eye you pour, chanting his name. Swami Sharanam, Swami Sharanam. Very thrilling experience at home. And then you pour the ghee, then seal it. A cork will be, and then seal it, with, what do you call it? Something is there, You light it and then... Araku. Something, a red thing. And then so that it will never come out. And then you place it along with other offerings, put it on your head and then go. So when you reach the Mala, Shabarimala, and there is a place where you go, you open this coconut, collect everybody's coconut, you open it, you break it, and then pour everything in a vessel, and this vessel will be given to the Pujari. Pujari will take some quantity of it and apply it on the idols. You can see that, and then he will put something back in this thing, and it will be mixed with the other, and that's prasad. It's thrilling. It's a sort of thrilling experience. So we find that the Chaitanyam that is developed because of the faith of the devotees also becomes instrumental in giving this mysterious experience. But if we don't always try to dwell, not merely at the time of going, if we try to maintain that, then we become the real beneficiaries. Because Papa was dwelling always on the indwelling and all-pervading reality, and God arranged for in Tirupati he was not given this privilege. But in Jagannath Puri, he developed a desire to go. Immediately the desire was fulfilled, and this is the experience he had. He was able to completely free himself from the Deha Buddhi, and then when the Brahmin was asked why you were prompted, he said only Jagannath knows. Jagannath alone can answer your question. No sooner did I see you than a strange and sudden desire seized me to take you in and get you the darshan of Jagannath. Papa did not ask. Why I did all this, I cannot explain. It was all the work of God, certainly Ram's work. So the devotion, message we can take it as purest form of devotion. Purest form of devotion gives you such thrilling experience, and whenever you remember, that thrilling experience comes back to you again. It is not that we have it and then we lose it. We will not lose it. Because at that particular moment, the joining has taken place. Whether it is for a minute or a half a minute or a quarter a minute or a quarter of a second or a fraction of a second, it is a direct experience which stays with you throughout. That is the real purpose of temple visit. Because the moment we close, we always get If at that time God blesses us with the right attitude of right devotion, right devotion. Pining, craving, Anything else? And one more strong message. When we start taking up, we were told God is the subtle and mysterious power, impersonal. Normally the mind or intellect will try to concentrate upon, to give not that much importance for the worship to a form. But the form is also equally instrumental in kindling this Nirguna Tattva in us. In that way, the outer form helps us. Because finally, certainly Ram's work, certainly it is all Ram's work. Ram stands for the subtle and mysterious power. So he also facilitates for devotees to have the joy of such thrilling experience. That's also a powerful message, yes. Devotion means, the bhakti. Bhakti supersedes everything. That's why that first word, somebody said, it outweighs.
One moment of that existence outweighs all the pleasures.
One moment of that existence outweighs all the pleasures of the world. And you see the Brahmin, now my work is over. And he was going inside the temple, leaving him. But before he did so, Ramdas was somehow impelled to put him a question. Not only this thing, a few minutes later, he and the Brahmin guide were out again at the very place where from he had been fetched. Here, procuring some prasad, boiled rice, the Brahmin put it into the mouth of Ramdas. Now my work is over, said he, and was going inside the temple, leaving him. So from inside he came out, took him inside, brought him out, gave prasad, and then again went for his work. Pa. It shows the level of devotion Papa had developed. The devotion that welled up in his heart spontaneously, mysteriously prompted that Brahmin man to come out, locate him, take him in, bring him back, give prasad, leave him. So that's why when he was asked, he said, no sooner did I see you than a strange and sudden, desire seized me to take you in and get you the darshan of Jagannath. Why I did all this, I cannot explain. It was all the work of God. And Papa added, certainly Ram's work. From here we move to the 15th chapter, Christ the Messenger of God. Here we can take the message as when we associate with a particular line of thought, and when somebody, line of philosophy or a school of philosophy, when we find somebody else also believes in it, until such time there might be a separation. But the moment we come to know that all differences are fading, not only in a temple, the language also says it, When we go to a different place, and if we hear somebody talking our language, suddenly the affinity develops. I had shared here, our own experience. That was in 68, we went to Bombay for the first time. So then we wanted to go to Ganeshpur to have the darshan of Nityananda Maharaj ashram. So we went to we came out, somebody said you get into a train and get down in this particular station. Everything was in Marathi, everybody was talking Marathi, it's a village area. We were finding it extremely difficult to understand what to do now. Finally we came to the ticket clerks. There will be a hole through which he will give the ticket. So we looked at him through that hole and told him, we are coming from south, we don't know this language. We would like to go to the Ganeshpur. How to reach there, can you guide us? Immediately he looked at Malaria. Immediately he entrusted his job to somebody, came out. First he took me to a tea shop and gave me a cup of tea and bread or something like that. Then he took me to the bus driver. There was a bus standing nearby. He told him that you have to take him, and when Ganeshpur comes, suppose the boards are in Marathi, he may not know. You should tell him to get down there. And when are you coming back? He asked that. He said after the 2 hours or 3 hours. So he asked me how much time you would like to spend. I said, okay, 2-3 hours. Then you get into the same bus, you note the number and told the driver to bring him back to the railway station. And then he said there is a train at such and such a time from that station to Bombay again. All because the moment we came to know Malayali, immediately all the separation. So similarly, when the ticket inspector, he was of a different faith, and when he saw Papa also offering his respects, suddenly the whole attitude changed. Otherwise he was teasing them. And he apologized, and he who made them to get down from the train asked them to get into the train, next train. So the message is affinity. So when we, in our day-to-day dealings, even if we are in a strange place, there are so many methods through which many such experiences, and mysteriously so many things happen. Because he is a mysterious power, he will make it to happen mysteriously. How, why, all those things we cannot say that. So here also we find the devotion. It is not the knowledge of the prophet or what do you call it. The devotion with which the answer came from Papa, that had touched his heart. Anything else? Not here. No. No. He was not viewing it as a teasing, While the Sadhuram was reluctant to part with his possession, when the turn came, whatever packets he had, unconditionally he placed before him. Brother, these two articles are yours. You are quite welcome to have them since Ramdas never owned them as is at any time. They belong to anyone who demands them. That is the... If it has to become a reality in our life, say, how much we have to develop this sense of dispossession. Ramdas never owned them as he said any time. They belong to anyone who demands them. We pray, we are unable to live up to all these things. Because our possessiveness will not permit. Even that sadhu who has renounced everything, still he had his attachment toward that lota and...
He got the light and color back. He got the light and color back on his face.
No, but that. What did he lose? Is it, I think
brass pot.
Brass pot.
Brass pot, where he was very deep.
Lantern and holding it straight, and by the help of the light he made the discovery of the bag. And the brass pot of the Sadhu Ram and a small bundle of books and tiny aluminium pot of Ramdas. Now I will have this. He took the brass pot of the Sadhu Ram and placed it beside him, at which action the poor Sadhu Ram turned quite pale. We will also become pale, no? So we don't have to think that, no. Will we lovingly give? We may give to a person whom we admire or whom we respect, but not to a person whom we dislike. Certainly with love we will not give. No? So we have to think about it. Very difficult. A Mahatma asks, probably we may give. Or a person whom we admire or respect or we have affection. If suppose he asks something, we will readily give. But not otherwise.
Swamiji, even the minutest trouble is good with God dimension. The ticket collector's attitude of torture was transformed into good. Body, legs, and to arrest the numbness and increase blood circulation. Think of gain, even in uncomfortable situations.
When they were asked to get up and move, no? Not there, cried again. This side, get up, quick. Sadhus did as they bid and occupied the new place. Again for the third time the command came. Both the sadhus were moving about in perfect agreement. When they sat down at the last mentioned place indicated by the friend, Sadhu Ram grumbling, this is a strange man dealing with us. His only intention seems to tease us. No, brother, you mistake the kindness of this friend. We had been so long sitting in the train, and as a result our legs had become benumbed. To remove the stiffness and to induce brisker circulation of blood, the kind friend makes us walk this side and that, asks us to sit and stand. It is all for good. Ram be praised for his goodness and love. This reply did not seem to satisfy the Sadhu Ram. Your philosophy is very hard for a poor sadhu like myself. Same, no? We are also in the same category, no? To properly understand. We will not be able to understand. We will say, you are not fit to live, no? The reading makes us to think about it. Makes us to think about our, unpreparedness to do anything. Even now, after hearing.
That was very difficult to execute everything. No? Yes.
With this bhavana, no?
But But there is an impact, Swamiji.
Tension inside will be there. Yeah. Because the possessiveness of the possession is so strong. So the message is, even if we possess, we should not own it. No? We may have to possess so many things during our life journey, but let us not own anything inside. We don't have to tom-tom, but inside our mind that is called detachment. We may have to possess. Even in ashram, we have the key, of the drawer. Possession will be there. Or somebody may come and give something. We will not say, we will not touch. But it will be passed on to somebody, You are never owning it. So owning and possessing both are different. What we do is, whatever we possess, we own. Here, Papa's message is, you may own, you may possess, but never own. Until the owner, the real God, he will come in the form of another person and who will demand. He is the owner. Ramdas never owned them as his at any time. They belong to anyone who demands them.
Very powerful.
That is the powerful message, correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are we of give and take policy?
There is no give and
What
take,
is it?
There is only give and take. Give.
Yes. Papa takes also.
Huh?
Papa takes also at times.
Papa takes.
As arms.
And he gives also immediately.
He gives also.
So here, when we have seen, any Mahatma will receive any offering, but he will never be owning it.
Never owning.
So we can try to think about on those lines. How to reduce our ownership on the possessions God has given us. Everything we may not be able to do, at least to some extent we may be able to do, Technically we may be the owner, but internally we may not be the owner. Suppose a land is registered, for example. Technically we have become the owner. The ashram has got lands. So when we gift to others, we also execute. But at no time people who are manning should own individually. These are so many indirect lessons Papa gives through IQG. Never internally own. You can possess. Not by going and acquiring it. If it comes by itself, you can possess. At the same time, part with it when somebody comes and asks for it. At every time, we should be having zero possession in our heart. Zero ownership in our heart. First test is, can we keep our room unlocked? Difficult.
Yes, Swamiji, wherein no locks are there. Wide open. Each and every house is wide open.
Where?
Uncle, we are telling about ashram, in the ashram.
Sure.
In the town, if you keep it open, then God will see that it is emptied in no time.
It is good to keep no locks in the ashram, but here in Delhi, my house with locks has been burgled twice with 3 locks. The thieves broke all the locks. But however, I was not burgled. It was.
No, the answer is,
I was not so much worried, but my neighbors who lost too much, they left their house.
no, the answer is we can lock our house, everything. Internally, we should see that we should be able to part with whatever we have to others.
Yeah.
Outwardly, even in ashram, immovable property is in the name of ashram. Movables we can easily give. Immovable property, how can you give? So immovable properties we cannot. But at the same time, mentally we will not own. That means it may be available to anybody who demands. But with all this said and done, a parigraha has got its own limitation. In Papa's case, he was a parivrajaka, so the problem will not be there. But when Papa came and sat and set up this ashram, and he was away for some time, on a tour, Mataji was alone. At that time, somebody nearby or somebody, they created some problem on the lands. So as soon as Papa reached it, when it was conveyed, he had to take to legal action and got it straightened. Because it is surveying, all those things will take place. It is purely ashram's property, not yours, It was made known to them. So the norms that we observe in our Parivrajaka Yatra and the norms we observe while we are in a place, there also it differs. But basically, intrinsically, we don't feel we don't own anything, even while handling such things. Anything else? So we have covered about 15 chapters now in this run.
Swamiji,
Ah.
oh Ram, oh priest, thou hast a strange way of testing thy humble slave.
Ah.
Oh Ram, thou art a mystery.
Eh?
What love, kindness itself. Trusty, oh Ram, is true to the entire support.
Thou art a mystery, but thou art love, kindness itself. Thou art a mystery. He who trusts thee, O Ram, is sure of thy entire support. This is all one can know of thee, and that is sufficient. To understand thy ways is not only impossible, but also unnecessary for thy humble devotee. To bask in the sunshine of thy infinite love is in itself the highest happiness. The child asks for the love of the mother and gets it, and is satisfied. Where is then room to ask for anything more than this? So this is the lesson. Every time, some. So out of this 15, again tomorrow we will see how much we retain. Wherever an effort is made to link it with our own life's experience, we will be able to remember something, some inner alignment. What he inspires through the chapter and our own life experience, what God has given us. And when we join them together, then there is an inexplicable thrill, and that thrill will remain with us. Every time our problem is that me and mine. Our faith depends upon how God is answering our prayer. We become aware, when we go through this in-depth study, we become aware of the areas where why we have not been able to live up to. Our mind must be consoling us that to some extent we have improved. That is okay. But at the same time, we are also made aware which are the areas where we have to improve, where we can make a trial with all the limitations. Bodily limitations will be there, so many things will be there, which is not in our control. So this particular chapter, 15 chapters, you kindly go through it again. Don't go through it again, sorry. Just sit and start remembering. And which chapter or which message is predominant in us. Which message he gives from chapters is predominant in us. Then we will find it as something with our life. This is a part of in-depth study. Because we are not trying to memorize and then reproduce, It is a study, So we are trying to integrate our life with the journey of Papa. So now we have covered 15. Suddenly you remember 15 chapters starting from the introductory message of defining Ram, then struggle and initiation, renunciation, sannyas, adoption of sannyas, like that, Srirangam, Rameshwaram, Madurai, Tirupapuriyur, like that, in the cave, Tirupati, policeman. When we parade before our mind, and then each episode gives us messages. Which message is predominant? Tonight, suppose we do that exercise, tomorrow we might be able to know for ourselves. The purpose of Ram, of making us to take up an in-depth study, that we will know that. Message, not the episode. For episode details we may have to open. We may know, but exactly the words used or some conveyed, that we may have to open and read. But what is the message? What is the message? What is the message? Suppose we ask. We can have the title of the chapters. That could be one method. When we go through the title, 15 chapters, Ram, the truth, struggle and initiation, renunciation, adoption of sannyas, Srirangam, Madurai, Chidambaram, Rameshwaram, journey, Chidambaram, Tirupapuriyur, Pondicherry, Tiruvannamalai, in the cave, Tirupati, God is everywhere, kind policeman, Jagannathapuri. Suppose we write on a piece of paper. We should write, not going through the text. That is also an exercise. And then we try to mark, what is the message? What is the message? What is the message? Just like when we were doing homework, we were intensely doing it, na? So similarly, these 15 chapters, we make a note, we make the title, and then see for ourselves whether any particular message stands out. And out of these 15, again some filtering. And finally, one or two messages will definitely be there. We request all of you to kindly, those who are sitting here and those who are hearing through Google Meet, to make an attempt. Then only the real purpose of this in-depth study. Otherwise, it is a 1 hour diversion, that's all. But if we have to name it as an in-depth study, something on our part should be there, not merely hearing and going. So kindly try. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram.
Namaskar, Swamiji. Pranam, Swamiji.
Pranam, pranam, pranam.
Pranam, Swamiji.
Eh?
Pranam.